26, 2019 meeting of the Old Town Planning Board to order. The
Appointments.
Well, okay, you want to do that now?
Oh, no, well, you know the story.
Well, I just saw the thing on the minutes, but they weren't in the packet. Are they on the website? Is that?
No, they're on the website, but you will have them in packets. That's what I'm gonna do in my downtime.
Okay, so can we approve them if we?
No,
I haven't seen them.
just table that.
Okay, well, we will table that then without objection. The next item is appointments. And you're,
This is the time of year when we need to appoint chair, vice chair, and
I thought we, okay.
No.
No, not yet.
not yet.
I'm jumping.
We have to
the gun.
wait for council to, I know, Mr. Folsom, Travis Folsom, he's put in his paperwork to replace Mr. Belageron. Looking forward to having him work with us, and it'll be a good fit.
Oh, yeah, so, it'd be great, no,
But appointments, you guys need, it's the time of year when you have to pick your chairman and
okay.
vice chairman.
Well, once again, I will ask, Russ, wouldn't you like to be chairman?
I would not.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't do any good to nominate you then?
No, it would not.
If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve, right? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Does Tim want to do it? Does
I
Tim-
don't think so.
No?
I've asked him before too. He did it, he was the chairman when I first came on
He's retiring.
20-some-odd years ago.
It's June, not this coming June, next June. he's
Uh,
retiring, so.
2020?
I'm not, I think he had to go to a project down south, so I ended up getting nominated. And I'm happy to do it if you want me to do it, which means somebody has to nominate me and second it.
I nominate you to be chairman.
Okay,
You've done a
I'll
good
second
job.
it.
all right. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. There we go. All right,
You
so
said
we'll do that, and, however, comma,
Will Tim remain?
we
vice?
also need a vice chair. Now, Tim has stepped in and done that
Yep.
in the past. If he's still on the board, I would certainly nominate him as vice chair. And since he's not here, I expect unanimous by acclamation. Okay, he's
Second.
vice chair.
Yeah, right.
All right, so there we go. So-
Motion?
All in
All in favor?
Yep.
Yeah.
So are you happy now?
Robert's rules.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Silliness.
We don't want to hurry and go back outside anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly welcome you on the board. Maybe we have a chance to chat for a few minutes afterwards, and we have fun. I don't know, how many, have you been to many meetings before? Or?
I've been to a few years ago when I was working on my house, getting
Oh,
that approved. It was
okay.
up Bushell Lake.
Okay, we weren't the ones that denied you your,
No, no,
Was that you?
You approved it.
okay, good.
I had lots of drawers, lots
There
of.
was one out there when Ted Tryon was still on the board that we ended up denying it, mainly because somebody had said there was an eagle's nest on the lot. It turned
Oh,
out
no.
there wasn't, but that wasn't you, huh?
No,
Okay,
this was right around the same time Steve built his last one.
okay. Well, good, that's good. We approved it, good, so. Anyway, moving on. I'd love to have a chance to chat with you afterward. We get our official business done, and I appreciate your all coming. The item 4 is the site plan application for a 6-unit apartment building and associated improvements located at 586 Main Street, tax map 28, lot 1, case number 1538.
That's me.
Are you officiating, Oscar?
I am.
Great, good to see you.
We need the microphone or?
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think we
either
can.
there or.
Oh, well, we gotta record this.
Okay.
Probably should, yeah.
Yep.
Please.
Okay. So, was this the site where where we had the fire, the place burned, or no?
No, it's just this side of Skip's.
Right.
The White House and a fairly large yard and had the white detached garage,
Yeah,
which
okay,
if you drive down by today, that's not there.
Right.
yeah, okay. I went by there, and I mean, I looked at the maps and everything. I thought I knew what I was looking at, but I just wanted to be sure.
Well, good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Oscar Emerson, Down to Earth Professional Land Services. And I was the engineer to assist Brian Wilcox, the applicant, for his multifamily dwelling on 586 Main Street. This is a 6-unit, 1-bedroom multifamily dwelling. And it will be situated on a lot that's a half an acre in size. Currently, there's an existing structure there with a garage and some gravel parking, gravel paved type of parking. That all will be raised, and he's going to be putting on a new structure and a new paved parking surface to accommodate that structure. This is an in-town lot. It has city water, city sewer. I think you'll find in your packet that there's letters from both the water district and the pollution control facility indicating that they have adequate capacity to accommodate the structure. Again, it's an in-town lot, so you have all your infrastructure in place as far as telecommunications and electricity. The lot, the topography of the lot as it sits right now is the house in the garage is sitting pretty much at street level, and then there's like a terrace where the grade goes down, and then there's sort of like a flatter area in the rear of the property. Taking advantage of situating the development on top of the terrace, not trying to bring in excessive fill, and there's also, I think he's envisioning like a walkout type of basement in the bottom. So we're not making a complete flat surface. We're going to try to use the topography to our advantage. We have a parking lot that will accommodate 2 spaces per dwelling unit. Let's see. I'm going to actually grab the application. And go over some of the items here. I already talked about utilization of the site. Traffic access and parking. The existing access is in this area right here. We'd like to relocate the access down to here. Again, we're having the configuration is the building beside the parking rather than parking in front of the structure. And to accommodate that, we'd like to move the entrance of the parking lot just down a ways, about 85 feet. The grades are quite flat, for the parking and, on top of the terrace, so we don't have excessive grades, for the entrance, so we're able to accommodate the 3% maximum. We don't have a corner lot, and based on, I believe I even gave a little excerpt that you can have from DOT when they give a driveway permit, and just their little table here for trip ends. We don't meet any of the thresholds for any type of traffic impact study, so no off-site improvements are proposed. And this is a modest site. We have, even though it's a 6-unit, it is a 1-bedroom. Each unit is 1 bedroom, so you wouldn't anticipate everybody leaving at the same time, but even if they did, it still wouldn't be having an adverse impact on the ambient traffic. Pedestrian circulation, we have this nice receiving area here for once the vehicles are parked, they have a nice walkway to get to the structure. We don't have any commercial loading areas because this is not commercial in nature. We don't have the large parking area, so there's no mitigation factors for that. Stormwater management, again, the site, is occupied right now, and there's some impervious surfaces on top of this top terrace that we're talking about. We are increasing the impervious area a little bit. And I have put together a grading scheme where the stormwater from the increase of the impervious area is directed to a level spreader. And the level spreader, what that does is it reduces the velocities and the flow rate prior to leaving the property lines. And I think that in your packet, you also have my stormwater analysis as well. And, you know, for the most part, the impact was like 1/10 of a CFS, and that's like a little, if you envision a culvert, it's like a little drool coming out of the bottom of a culvert. It's not, it's insignificant as far as any type of increase in flow rate. Erosion control, I addressed in the narrative the erosion control, and on note number 7 on the plan, you know, there's not any extensive erosion control measures really required for this type of development, but on note number 7, you know, I instruct the contractor to put silt fence or erosion control mix down gradient before any construction activities take place. A lot of times, I mean, this is like a big house that's being constructed. You know, a lot of times you'll see big houses being constructed and they don't have any erosion control, but we do have erosion control noted and specified. BMP, best management practice of choice, really is the erosion control mix rather than the silt fence, because personally, a lot of times they don't install the silt, you know, it's hard to get somebody to install the silt fence correctly. You know, digging the trench and installing the key in there. You don't really, a lot of times you can see daylight underneath the silt fence, so the erosion control mix really has been gaining in popularity. And in the narrative, I specify, you know, of course, the sequence of the erosion control. And, you know, it's important that, you know, that they adhere to the winter construction, because perhaps, you know, there might be some winter construction going on. So I address the water supply, the sewage disposal, utilities, natural features. There really isn't any significant natural features. We're going to try to keep, you know, obviously keep the tree line here. Not going to try to go out there and clean everything out. There will be some tree removal right in this immediate area, because there is some trees. There's some sort of like maple trees. Trying to think of the species, but right at the bottom of the existing hill, and there'll be several trees that may require removal. Groundwater protection, this is a type of site that really doesn't lend to any type of groundwater contamination. There's no subsurface discharges, and this is residential in nature, so there will be no hazardous materials stored on site. The shoreland relationship was not applicable. Capacity of the applicant, I gave you a picture in one of my packets of a very similar project that the applicant has installed on Stillwater Avenue. And this is actually a pretty good depiction, because that's the type of architecture that he uses as well.
Except that this one will be 6.
This one will be 6.
It looks like that, but six
Yeah,
doors.
yeah, it'll be the same type of construction, yeah.
And he built numerous.
He's built numerous. He's built, yeah, 2 already in Bradley. Of the same nature, yeah. Solid waste management, he's going to have a dumpster, and I have an area that's depicted for the dumpster pad. Will be screened as, you know, required, so it won't be, you know, just the old dumpster isn't going to be visible from the street. Historic and archaeological resource. Again, this is a developed site. It's already got a house on it. You know, the house obviously isn't a type of structure that would trip any type of historical significance. Floodplain management, as per the FEMA mapping. You know, the site is not in the flood zone. Exterior lighting. Exterior lighting, there's an existing pole right here at the front of the site, right adjacent to the parking area. What the applicant would like to do is Amera will put in a light, almost like a street light by the lamp, on a pole, and he can have it diverted away from the street, and onto the parking lot. And I think they charge, it's a minimal price per month, but they'll maintain it and everything else and make sure that it, that it's always in use. And of course, it's on an eye, so it just comes on at nighttime, and it won't be on all the time. But that's what the applicant would like to do for lighting. Screening, I talked about the trash receptacle. This is a site. This site's going to harmonize with the vicinity of the project. You have multifamily housing. You have Skip's Auto on one side, and you have some multifamily and residential properties across the street. But it does fit. It will fit right into the ambiance of the neighborhood.
The Housing Authority is located at 9 Burnham. That's the one that came before us 2 years ago, maybe.
And there's no outdoor sales, so I just wanted to sort of quickly run down those items. And then I always take a step back, and then, what is the impact? What is the impact for the town? Because I've been on that side of the table before for several years, and one of the things you want to, above and beyond, the application, you want to look at the site and look at what's the potential impact. Erosion control. There's no impact with erosion control. You think about lighting. You think about impacts on the infrastructure of your town. Is this going to, be an adverse impact to the infrastructure? And you see none. Sometimes you have to think about the school systems. This really isn't a project that lends itself to the school systems. One of the aspects that I would like to talk about with the board that I sort of agonized over here is the landscaping. You do have a fairly extensive requirement, or a spelled out requirement for landscaping. With this particular site, there's a couple things that that is unique or make, again, gave me pause. Number one is the parking is on the side rather than in the front. A lot of times when you want to soften a site to mitigate the visual impact, one thing people don't like to see is, like a commercial building with parking right in the front, a large parking area with a commercial building. You want to soften that green area in the front right there with trees and, overstory. This site, it meets the setbacks, but it's not very far from the road. And today is a great example with the wind and everything. I was agonizing about specifying large story trees. We have overhead wires. We have a building that's not far away from it, and we have a building that's really not going to be a steel building glaring in front of you. It is it's going to be a multifamily residence, albeit multifamily, but it is going to be a residential structure. And I was before the board, and this is, I think it's significant, even though you don't see it in the ordinances. I was before this same board, God knows how long ago. Ted, you was there. Phil, I'm not sure. But Lonnie Taylor, Pembroke Drive. I had done a presentation for his multifamily units out there off of Stillwater Avenue. And we were talking about landscaping and about landscaping around the building. And he goes, no. He goes, I have a problem with putting landscaping right beside the entrances and around the building. And he said, what? And we asked him why. And he said, sometimes, not all women, so I don't want to be careful, be politically correct, but some women feel very uncomfortable going into a building when there's bushes and stuff, when it's dark and there's bushes and stuff by their entrance. And it was coming not from a developer, Lonnie Taylor, it was coming from the dad. And so anyways, I take that under consideration as well. So, I was wondering if, would it be okay to have like junipers? I felt uncomfortable having an extensive landscaping scheme right there in the front, especially with overstory trees like hardwood trees, that's going to grow up big. But perhaps some low-lying junipers, if that would be okay, to give it some aesthetics, but,
So you've got about 20 feet from the
Yeah.
sidewalk to the building?
yeah.
You're gonna grass that in?
Oh, that's going to be vegetated.
Yeah.
That will be lawn. But now I'm talking about, above and beyond that.
I think there needs to be something, because the one that's up on Main Street, the one that you have the picture of, the dumpster sits right out front and it's overflowing pretty consistently.
oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I drive by it almost every day. So
Okay.
I think that, having something to
Yep.
soften it.
Sure.
You were talking about the screen with the dumpster. I think that's
I
important for a
could get him to
presentation.
screen that.
It would
that
add
one
to
on
it.
Stillwater
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, another option would be, along the edge of that vegetated area would be some planters, they would also provide a little bit of a physical barrier for any traffic, that might cross over there. That's a possibility. You don't like that?
I don't like plants.
Well, I think something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
it is in a residential area, and I think that, how the parking is to the side, I think that'll be a better presentation, because the one up on Main Street, I mean, it's parking,
Dwelling.
the bit.
There's no opportunity there.
Yeah, there's not much opportunity there.
Right.
But
Here there
perhaps,
is.
perhaps some low-growing juniper, would that,
Right,
I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would
Juniper's
look
weather
nice.
well, winter
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Did you require anything on the corner of Burnham Street, Main Street? I don't recall. So it's the same, it's just on the opposite side of the corner, so why would we?
Well, there, you had quite a
Yeah,
slope.
there's quite a distance between.
I'm just trying to meet the spirit of the
And
ordinance.
you're also, yeah, and you're also looking at a side view of Burnham
Right.
from Main Street as opposed to.
I'm looking at the side view of this house too, from Main Street, aren't I? 'Cause the parking is over here.
Oh, for housing authority?
I'd be fine with the low junipers myself. I think it needs something there.
Would look
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a consensus? It sounds like it's,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Russ.
I have a question where the entries to these apartments will be. It looks like there's a step that's shown on the plan that goes in the parking lot, is that?
It doesn't really come into the parking lot because there's actually a 15-foot,
Right,
yeah.
but are there, similar to the picture that you showed that's on Stillwater Avenue, for the dimension, the 66-foot dimension, are there 6 dwellings done the same way? So would that mean that there are entries facing the Main Street? Or how do I
How do they get
access
in?
into this?
They get in through the side, right where the steps
So
are.
it's gonna be like like if I go to.
There's a common
Motel
doorway.
8, I'm gonna go in and there's gonna be a common corridor all the way down through?
From what I understand, yeah.
3 on each side or something?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but that's how it's going to be a side entrance and not a front entrance.
So is this a double story like this one on Stillwater?
Yes,
Avenue?
yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Mr. Wilcox was under the weather today. He had the flu, and I insisted that he stayed home and not give it to us.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going around.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
No, I was just curious on the entrance because
Yeah.
this would look like these are townhouses, if you will. And I didn't know if that's going to be,
No, so you won't have that row of doors, if that's what you're asking. No, you won't have that.
So there'll be one common entrance to the
Yes.
6 apartments, or
Yep.
the 6 units.
That's what I understand, yep.
do you need just one entrance out of a building like that?
Well,
This is-
There's gonna be other
They'll have
means.
egress windows in all the rooms, so yes.
So I don't need it, you don't need.
And this is gonna be fully sprinkled.
Okay.
Why only 20 feet from the road? Why didn't that, it looks like there's plenty of room there to move that building back away from the road and give yourself a chance for some reasonable soffage.
Fill, you didn't want to bring in a bunch of fill. I mean, the further you
Other
go
thing
back,
for
you're going to be,
floodplain, just-
you're getting off that terrace now.
Right, because I think you said it'll be daylight on the bottom.
Yeah.
That falls off pretty, I
Yeah,
think, if you moved it back, like if I'm recalling that properly, that is flat and then it drops
right.
pretty
Yeah.
Well, he had a map in here that shows that as a floodplain as well from the river, so, and that does flood, I've seen it, so.
No, it says
can
that it's
understand
not
why
in the-
he
It's
could-
not in the floodplain, is,
No, the building is not in the floodplain,
Close to it.
but the floodplain tickles the back of it.
The property.
Right.
Yep.
so it was the floodplain that forced it close to the road.
It was really a matter of not wanting to bring in a lot of fill and again,
'cause it
taking
does
advantage of the
have a-
topographies there, and it meets the ordinance as far as the setback goes.
In the R2, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, yeah, we can add this to our motion as far as the junipers and that sort of thing, but that's the only thing that is unresolved in your plan?
Yes, that's the only thing that I really wanted to, sort of discuss and weigh over with the planning board.
So does the single light on the pole meet a required amount of lumens?
For
to
that
light
parking lot?
For the parking lot, because it's gonna create shadows. Shouldn't there be another light either on the building or on the backside of the parking lot?
You can flood that parking lot with light, depending on the size that they put on there.
Okay, do we have what that size is, what that light is?
Yeah, I have a specification on the light. I had submitted that as well.
Yeah, so-
I believe I did. Oop, that was the other project, I'm sorry. That's, no, I didn't include the specifications, because that's what Emera puts up there. But it's gonna be like a street light, it's gonna be close to like what a street light is.
Well, you've got the site plan and all of that. As far as the building itself, we don't have any drawings or blueprints of that?
No, I'm not sure if Brian didn't submit anything, no.
Obviously, it'll meet all the life safety codes.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, no, he's got a lot of experience working with these type of projects and this type of construction.
Okay, well, any other questions? Okay, well, thanks, Oscar, appreciate that, and we will, as per our bylaws, go down through the findings of fact for this site plan review, and one is the utilization of the site. It is in the R2 zone and general residence zoning district, which allows this type of use. Number two is traffic access and parking. There is adequate parking. We've discussed the 24-foot curb cut. That is a straight section of Main Street, so it does appear that there's plenty of sight distance. Pedestrian circulation. They're going to leave the parking lot and go to the common entrance to the
Correct.
building, and from there access the 6 units.
That's correct.
Do we need, I mean, the light on the pole will illuminate that entrance?
There'll be typical residential lighting.
There'll be a
at that
porch light
door.
or something right at the door, okay. Stormwater management, and obviously the site has been developed, and the runoff does go to the east down towards the railroad tracks, and through some of those backwater logans eventually into the river. So we're aware of that. The erosion control, obviously, you're going to utilize all BMPs to assure that there's no erosion there. There's a little risk of it reaching the river, even if you did have some, but you will take care of that for erosion and sediment control. Water supply is from the city, and we had a letter indicating adequate water supply. Sewage disposal as well has been certified as being adequate. Utilities include electrical, telephone, and telecommunication service, and those utilities will come from the overhead lines on Main Street to the site. The landscape will be preserved in its natural state. The existing landscaping to be utilized with new grass to be planted, and the addition of low shrub junipers between the units and the street. There'll be nothing there's no room south of the parking lot, so it's only gonna be in front of the unit.
That's the green area that's provided.
Okay, so that's an understanding that we have in this finding of fact. I don't think we need to add that necessarily to our motion, if we've discussed it and it's part of the record.
Make it part of that.
Okay. Water quality protection, there's no resource protection zones. There are wetlands, back there, backwater Logan, but obviously you will take adequate precautions to make sure you don't damage that. There will be no hazardous, special, or radioactive materials generated or stored at this site, and that's an understanding as well. There is no shoreland because it's not within the shoreland zone. It's more than 250 feet from the river and associated wetlands. The applicant has demonstrated that he has the financial and technical capacity to carry out this project, as evidenced by other projects of a similar nature that have been built. Solid waste management, the proposed development will provide for that disposal under contract to Casella, as I understand. And the dumpster will be screened. Is that?
Yes.
I don't know if it shows that on the plan.
Didn't show it on the plan, but it was in their narrative.
Could we have an idea of where you plan to put the dumpster and how it'll be screened?
It shows on the plan.
On the site plan, there's an area.
The rear of the parking,
Yeah.
the turnout.
Oh, okay, I got it. I was looking for the actual drawing of it, but I see where you got it now. You got a dumpster pad. Okay, and that'll be
Would the
screened.
Wooden enclosures,
Okay.
like a fence, wooden type enclosures that you put those in.
Okay, so it'll be screened.
Will that be doors?
Yeah.
Historic and archaeological resources, you have not identified anything. There's been a lot going on there over the years, but nothing of special significance that we know of. And floodplain management is that the site is not located within a floodplain, but you are adjacent to it. So I've never seen that flooded even when the river's been really, really high, even though like the cemetery further on down has been, but I've never seen it flooded there. I've seen other places. So it would seem, just based on that history and what we know of it during the time I've been around and anyone else, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
And I truly believe when the new FEMA maps come out, you're gonna see that
Right.
recede back.
Exterior lighting, we've discussed the photocell fixture to be placed on the utility pole and serviced by Emera, and that there will be other lighting at the entryway as well. Screening will be provided by existing natural vegetation. As we've talked about, refuse containers and outdoor storage, that sort of thing. There are no plans for any outdoor sales. I'm assuming that in accordance with everything else we've done, if somebody wants to put a motorcycle out there or something with a for sale sign on it, that would be permitted, right? Something to that effect. But an ongoing outdoor sale obviously would be in violation of the R2 zone. Okay. Any other comments or questions regarding the findings of fact? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion regarding this application. You can accept the findings of fact, or I believe we can also make a motion to approve the site plan as presented with those findings.
Are there any people in the audience that object or otherwise? Do we know?
Does anyone have any comment on this application?
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Okay, I heard awesome.
We like positive.
Okay, awesome's good. So are you
Yeah, I own
here?
the building right beside it.
Okay, so you're okay with it, then you don't have any issues?
Yeah.
Lighting doesn't concern you?
Say something if he
Yep.
didn't. So.
Okay. Well, I figured, yeah, you'd speak up here, and sorry, I was remiss in
I
not.
was just interested in what they were doing.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
of course, and this is the place to find out, so.
Just awful close to the road, that's all, but you guys make that decision.
Well,
I don't
it
care,
meets the
but-
setback requirements in the R2 zone.
Yeah, No.
And I understand his concern about out back where you'd have to have a lot of fill. I'm not sure whether that actually might constitute a wetland back there. If you did fill it, there might be some issues there. If
What
we,
was there to what's going to be there is gonna be quite an improvement, I think.
oh yeah, I think so too, so. You know, that, if it was further back, I actually think there might be some issues around wetlands, and we might have to look into that a little more, actually have you look into that. But I think as the project is presented and where it's gonna be built, what was there existing, I think we're okay.
Oscar, what's the flood elevation on the river right there? Is that in the packet?
I saw a map in here, in the packet regarding floodplain. Where is that?
I saw it too.
Yeah, last page.
Yep.
On the review application.
About 90.5, Russ.
Okay.
Probably
And you've got, the maximum elevation at the street is what, about 102?
102, about 3/4 of the way back, you're meeting that 90-foot, so yeah.
So, yeah, I
Couple
think
different datums there too.
Yeah.
if we were moving it back, I think that might cause a problem. So with that in mind, I mean, it meets setback requirements for the R2 zone. I understand your concern.
I'm not concerned, I'm just saying, it's 66 feet, 66 feet long, it's 20 feet off the road,
Yeah,
that's all. mean,
Yeah, I-
Other than that, it's.
Off the right of way.
yeah. So I certainly understand that, but given the limitations of the site and what he would have to do if he went much further back, would cause a complication. Do you have any other concerns that you want to address? Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, appreciate that. And I was remiss in not asking before we get to this point of asking for a motion. Having said that, if there are no other questions or concerns from anyone else, then I would ask for that motion that we started.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site plans presented with the findings of facts for Brian Wilcox properties on 528 Main Street, lot 586 Main Street, sorry, tax map 28, lot 1, case 1538.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, Russ? Okay, any other questions? No discussion, all in favor? And none opposed, so wish you luck with that. I think that will be an improvement, and I hope Mr. Wilcox feels better.
I appreciate that. I think because this is a 6-unit division, it meets the, I think I should record that plan in the registry of deeds.
Yep.
I was gonna bring in some Mylars. I wanted to go through this meeting first, because I didn't want to bring in Mylars and have something change. And I'm gonna bring in some Mylars and
Address the-
locate the Juniper.
Okay?
And that way, maybe, at the next meeting, you could send
Sure.
Mylars. Okay.
Will that hold him up at all, Dave?
Yep.
Okay.
You like to do like this?
We'll just have to remember what order we sent. Bring in 2 paper and 2 Mylar. We ran into a little snafu not too long ago where the same signatures were on it, but the order was changed and.
Yeah,
they
the
wouldn't record
registry
it.
made us do it again.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever gonna do that again.
No.
Let's just stay cautious on
I've
this.
never heard of that before, but.
Yeah. It's like,
David
like we
won't let
got
us
the
do that
soup Nazi
again.
down the registry there, apparently. Well, no, I'm sure they're very precise, make sure it's
So,
all.
in terms of that, is the board comfortable letting him go ahead and start? Because I don't know when our next meeting will be.
Yeah,
I would be, yeah.
And if you want to bring him in, Oscar, and just drop him off, and I'll make sure that if they want, they can come by.
And instead of approval, it's just a matter of recording the Mylar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you got your approval.
Well, we have an approval of the site plan, and certainly wish you and Mr. Wilcox luck, and please pass on our best wishes for his recovery.
Yes.
But you don't get rid of Mr. Emerson that easily.
No, he's still here? Oh, gosh.
It's been a while since I've been here, now
Okay, makes it easier.
We're always happy to see you, Oscar. So. Okay. Item 5 is a site plan application for a 40 by 68-foot office and service building and associated improvements at 76 Airport Road, Tax Map 5, Lot 3, Business Park Lot 2, case number 1539. And Oscar is here again.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Oscar Emerson, Down to Earth
So nice to see you.
Professional Land Services. I'm here representing Carmichael Transport,
Look at that, he's got it on the back of the same poster board.
Frugal.
and it's
Organized.
And it stayed on here during the windstorm. Yeah. So what we have here is a proposed development on lot, and I'm going to flip the page here. Lot number 2 on the Business Park subdivision at the airport. So we have a 1.7 acre lot that has already gone through the subdivision review and approval, and some extensive studies were done during this particular development of the plan of the division. You'll see that there was wetlands that were delineated. There was a comprehensive stormwater management plan that was conducted, and what you see in these dashed lines here is reserved areas for stormwater buffer. So one thing about this site, and one thing, I guess, if you look at it, most of these lots, right here in this general vicinity, they're surrounded by the stormwater buffer. We have, obviously, the existing airport road, and with the infrastructure that was associated with that, with the sewer and water. And, there was some, upon review of some of the documentations that was associated with the subdivision, there was comprehensive wetland mapping and permitting done. I believe Dave Moyes Environmental did it back in the day. And I can tell you, by going through the same procedure myself, when you do a wetland permit like that and submit it to DEP as well as stormwater, a lot of agencies are already contacted. The archaeological, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, all the sister agencies are, have a chance to review this, and they get a copy of the application to look
I
at.
think it's worth noting, isn't this part of the area that had to get an act of Congress to allow us to develop
Yes,
the
and
site?
we're that far from the finish line. We just had some work done out there so hopefully they're gonna sign off on it.
So that obviously, I mean, if it's gonna happen, but.
Oh, yeah.
So that doesn't impact approval of
No.
this before that's final?
No, we've already got Gary Sullivan building out there, so.
Yeah, I noticed that, that's why I was just,
No.
so we're all set, but
They're all
that
good,
was
yep.
one of
Making me
the,
nervous. Okay.
that's
Yep,
one
they're all
of,
good.
one of the items here. Dave feels comfortable, I guess we do too.
Okay, good. So,
It was an act of Congress, though,
okay.
just so you know.
Wow, all right.
You could build your project out there.
Wow, okay. So what we have here is a proposed commercial structure, more or less, a building for, to accommodate a transport facility, trucks, So it's, you really have a large bay area here on the structure, and you see a little area that's earmarked for office space. So that's where you would have your utilities, like a toilet and stuff like that, just for an office. So, you have your sewer going there, you have your water and electricity and all your other telecommunications, all your other infrastructure going on. This has sort of this is sort of a spoon-fed type of project here for me, because a lot of the work has already been done, i.e. stormwater. So what you have to do is make sure that, you take care of your erosion control, and you look at the aspects of grading, making sure the grading works. And so we're developing a good portion of the site. This is an I-2 industrial zone here, so a lot of the site is being accommodated or being developed, with parking. You have these large parking stalls here for truck parking. You have this large apron, paved apron for truck circulation. You have some parking stalls here to accommodate employees. And so essentially, we have a structure here that 2,720 square feet, and it's like elevated up. So when you're looking at the elevations, it's sort of like a cone, not an exaggerated cone, but like a cone. So that the building is at the highest point on the site, and everything just sheds away into the stormwater treatment areas. Again, the spoon-fed is. There's a paved apron. There's a curb cut already there. You have stubs for all your infrastructure here for sewer and water already there. You have landscaping. You have, I think they're called pin cherries along the front here. And of course you have, around the perimeter you have, vegetation that remains because it's a stormwater buffer. So having said that,
How far is the back of the property from the runway itself?
oh my goodness. Glad I brought this plan. Let's see.
That's quite a ways.
I can answer that question.
Just roughly.
Yeah. .600 feet.
How much?
600 feet.
600 feet?
From the actual runway.
From the actual property line of the from the runway, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot less than that.
No, 600 feet. Trying to think if that's the fence line. I think that's that fence line.
It goes right up against that fence line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So you have a 300-foot stormwater vegetated buffer between the development and the runway
No,
area.
I'm
Yeah.
not concerned, I was
No,
just curious.
No. So, utilization of the site. It's pretty, it's a flat site out there. So he's utilizing pretty much everything. He wants to utilize as much of the property as he can. It's a flat site, so we're bringing in fill to grade it up to make sure that water doesn't run towards the building and runs away from the building and into the adjacent stormwater buffers. Traffic, again, with this type of development that was already done, we anticipate, because it's an industrial zone and it's an industrial subdivision, traffic has been addressed already. I tried to come up with, the numbers that I came up with for, I came up with some numbers here for the truck circulation. Seemed pretty low to me when I used that little sheet. So there wasn't much traffic being associated with it as per.
I believe he has 35 trucks that they go to various post offices, pick up, and then they start dispersing to other post offices further north.
And my understanding, all the time I've been here, I've never seen overweight load posters on that section of Gilman Falls Avenue or on the airport road. So that's not posted
No.
for weight limits. So you're,
No, 'cause
Right,
the
yeah,
trucks that
yeah.
we're driving on it from Public Works probably way more than.
yeah.
Right.
And the quirky thing is, when you try to come across it on a analytical standpoint or based on documentation for, traffic manuals, you use a square footage of a building, and then you come up with a truck, you come up with a type of use, and you come up with a truck or trip rate for, This is a fairly small building, and, it was like, it was they come up with 3 trucks per hour. Now, pragmatically, I think it's probably more than that. So sometimes, even when you come across on a scientific basis or, a documented basis, you have to sort of use your common sense, and I think it'd be more than 3 trucks an hour, but I still don't think it would be to the point where you're going to have an adverse impact, especially with an infrastructure like this, that this is what this park was built for.
Right.
Yeah. But you have to address it. Lot frontage on 2 streets, not applicable. Off-site improvements, that's not going to be required for this particular project. Vehicle queuing, he's got a lot of real estate here. That's not going to be a problem. Number of driveways, again, we have this is already punched right out. There's a nice little apron right here. So, we're using the width that was designed for the entrance for that lot. Driveway location, we're not going to change anything. That's where that's supposed to go. Safe movement, again, we have plenty of room to work with there. Commercial loading areas, that whole site is a commercial loading area. Parking requirements, they're really, you're not going to come up with a parking requirement for this type of work, but this is based on what the applicant needs for his particular use. And you would find that, for the number of employees he says, he's got more than enough parking stalls there. We don't have a parking lot over 100 spaces. Parking location, the proposed parking is located so around the site perimeter to provide surface drainage to adjacent stormwater buffers. Pedestrian circulation, the only pedestrians you're going to have is the employees going into this office space. Stormwater management was already addressed for me. Erosion control.
Now, the sidewalk, does that stop at your driveway? The one that goes from Gilman Falls?
It continues on, but, it slopes down. It has that ramp, you have like a little ramp going down and then a little ramp going up. Yeah, so it breaks, and the curb is broken there.
It continues beyond that site, doesn't it?
Oh, it certainly does, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, keeps on going. Erosion control, I address the erosion control in the narrative, as well as, in this case, this particular type of project, I have my erosion control notes here specifying the sequence, talking about winter construction, and of course, prior to any type of earth disturbance, all erosion control measures are in place. So this is, assuming that a contractor is going to be taking this plan, and so we want to have some detail there for him on what to do. And I address dust control into the narrative. Water supply, again, we have municipal water supply, we have municipal sewage disposal, we have the existing utilities that's already there, the natural features and landscaping, we have existing landscaping along the front, and we have, of course, the natural wooded buffer around the perimeter. Groundwater protection. Now, there's no subsurface discharge proposed. We don't have a subsurface septic system or anything like that. However, talking with the client, because I was asking him about, okay, this is obviously not residential, what are we going to have here? And it was stated to me that there is going to be a fuel tank there, an above-ground 2,000-gallon fuel tank, and it's equipped with a self-enclosed holding mechanisms in case of compromise, i.e., it has either the double walls, or you're going to have it's going to be sitting inside a dike, but whatever he installs here or implements for the fuel tank has to have that safety mechanism to go in place.
Because that needs to be permitted through the state as well, right?
Very well may have to, yeah. He did say that there, changing the truck oil in the truck, we'll have some waste oil that will be on site for a short time. He said that it doesn't stay there long because people are clamoring to take it from him. So he doesn't really need to find a place to get rid of it. He has people that want to use it for some other purposes, I guess. But
typically burn it.
Burn it, yeah.
Heat, right?
Yeah. The project's not within a shoreland zone. There's no, no wetland areas that's going to be disturbed during construction. Again, that was already accommodated and taken place during the alignment and the layout of the subdivision. Shoreline relationship, it's not applicable. Capacity of the applicant, he has a site just like this at Ammo Park, Ammo Industrial Park at Hamden, Maine. And he's currently expanding on that as well. Like
So
Brian.
this is an additional site for
Yeah, yeah,
them.
yeah.
They're not moving from.
I don't-
They are.
They are moving?
They are moving.
Okay, that's, all right, I was wondering
Okay,
about
so they're
that,
not
Dave.
going to be at
No.
Ammo
Oh, no kidding.
eventually.
Because he had bought more property at Ammo Park, too. Yeah, huh. 'Cause I
There's
helped-
something going on with the town where they were gonna make them take over the road going into it.
Huh. Interesting. I thought he was going to keep both sites going, so that's interesting. Because I just did not too long ago, a lot description for Ammo Park, for him to buy more land. All right. Solid waste management, he's going to have a dumpster. I didn't show where the dumpster would go. You'd assume that it's going to be right around the building.
It'll be screened,
It'll be screened, and he certainly can put that in an area where you're not going to see it.
right.
Yeah.
It's an industrial zone, too.
Yeah.
It's not as a larger concern as there is in residential areas.
And he's under contract with Casella Waste. Historic and archaeological resources, during my little monologue, I addressed that. You can rest assured that those items were addressed and chased down. Floodplain management. I'm assuming that this is not in a floodplain if this is an approved subdivision through the municipality. Exterior lighting. Exterior lighting, I do have a specification for that I had submitted during the application. And, you're not going to have pedestrian, you don't really have you're not going to light a parking lot for truck storage, but wall packs around the building for the pedestrians, for the people going into the office and stuff. He's going to have the wall packs with the shields.
He's not going to light the
I
parking
don't
area for the
believe he's going to
trucks?
light that whole entire area, He might do it for security issues, but it isn't really something this isn't where the public is going to be parking, and it isn't something that you would typically light up. He might.
Well,
I mean, he's not, I don't, he didn't,
Industrial zone, so I think he can put up any lights he wants there. The only issue might be the airport.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why, even with Gary Sullivan, we dissuaded him from doing too much for parking lot lighting.
Yeah. So it's really going to be limited to the, he's got he's got a building where he can put wall packs down and he can put the shields. With this particular lighting that I submitted, the shields can go down and not going straight out. So
And there's no
downcast.
issues with as far as the airport approach?
Nope.
So long as you don't have a rotating beacon or something
Right.
up there, I would think you're, and obviously there's a height restriction, I believe it's 35 feet.
35 feet.
So you're well within that.
Screening, screen making sure the trash receptacle can't be seen from the road. And outdoor sales, this is not the type of project where he's going to have outdoor sales. He might have a for sale sign on one of his trucks if it's beyond the use for him, but it isn't going to be a truck sales project as far as I know.
Well, I don't know, would that be an issue in the industrial zone if he did have a bunch of trucks for sale out there?
Yeah. It allows for retail and other business customary.
That's what I thought. So I mean, it's not
Yeah.
an issue, it would be in an R2 zone, your previous application, but not so much out there.
Would be good.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Anybody in the audience? So I don't forget, have any questions about this application? We're very happy to see Carmichael Transportation move to Old Town.
Yep.
Happy to see them, and sounds like they're meeting all the requirements of the zone and the industrial park. And sounds like they'll be a good addition
activity going on out there.
That's good to see. That's really good to see. So with that in mind, I'm obligated to go down again, as you've addressed this all very well, but I will go down through the findings of fact, and obviously anybody can interrupt me if they have concerns regarding the categories. One is utilization of the site. It's in the I-2 zone. We've discussed that at length. Traffic access and parking is not an issue. That lot, he's using the curb cut that was designed for it. Pedestrian circulation, the sidewalk is going to stay there and will not be affected. Stormwater management, we've discussed that at some length about that area. It's quite flat, but with the stormwater buffers as installed on the plan, hopefully we won't be seeing any problems there. Erosion control is almost flat there, so the utilizing normal BMPs should take care of any concerns about erosion control or sedimentation. Water supply is from the municipally designed water areas, as is sewage disposal. Utilities
I
will be.
would like to just note on the sewage proposal that they do have to have an oil water separator, and Oscar did cover that
Yes, I noticed.
in the,
that.
in the.
I noted that. So he's got
In the
that,
service base.
and that will lead directly to their waste oil tank that will be.
No, that'll go into the city municipal sewer.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's separate from the
Separate
waste oil.
there, and then it goes into the.
I see. Okay, utilities are provided by overhead lines on the airport road. The landscape will be preserved insofar as possible in its natural state, and any other areas that are not needed for the parking lot will be seeded and loamed. Water quality protection, mentioned here, the oil water separator would be utilized and tied into the public sewer system. I'm assuming that how that works is they take whatever oil is separated out, or does the whole
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. It typically, there's a holding tank, and it separates it, and then they have it pumped out.
Pumped out and disposed of
Yep.
properly. There will be no hazardous, special, or radioactive materials through the conducting of that business out there, the transport. No hazardous, special, or radioactive waste as well. It does not affect any shoreland relationship. It's far enough away from the river and that site, in the industrial site, not in the shoreland zone. The applicant has already demonstrated, because of their operating their business in Bangor, that they have the capacity, financial and technical, to carry out the project. Solid waste management will be provided by use of a dumpster that will be screened appropriately. Okay, and obviously the contractor during construction will be required to dispose of all construction debris. There's no known historical significance to this site, other than the fact it needed an act of Congress to be able to be used. Floodplain management, it's not within a floodplain. Exterior lighting has been discussed, and the parking lot will not be lit up excessively, and wall packs on the side of the building will keep glare to the neighboring properties or the airport to a minimum. Okay, screening will be provided by existing natural vegetation. While there are no plans for outdoor sales in the I-2 zone, that is allowed, at least to a point. I'm not quite sure where it would not be allowed, but I think they're in pretty good shape otherwise.
If it turned, the character of his business turned into a car lot, they'd have to come back and.
Yeah.
But that's not the intention for it.
Not necessarily, it would not necessarily be prohibited, but would be a change of use. Okay, so I think that covers all the findings of fact regarding this application. We're very happy to see Carmichael Transportation come to Old Town, and we hope that they have great success out there. Having said that, and there's no other questions or comments by anyone else here, or any other comments or questions from the board, I would invite a motion to approve the site plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan for Carmichael Transportation at 76 Airport Road, tax map 5, lot 3, Business Park Lot 2, case 1539, and to accept the findings of fact.
The finding of fact has a 78 Airport Road, and the address is listed as 76.
What did we say it was, 78?
Look it up, I don't recall.
I don't
Those are
think-
all new established addresses, and the lots have not yet been cut out and for specific individual taxation. So as the building begins this spring, that's when we'll be setting them out, and assigning the addresses.
Because we went with what Sullivan's was, what the, and then tried to measure back.
So you've got a choice between 76 and 78? Well, good.
Good catch, because I wrote both of them.
Okay, I think we've adequately identified it, but thank you for
Well,
bringing that up. Okay, so we have a motion,
I'll second.
okay, and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? And none opposed. Okay, thank you very much, and we welcome you to Old Town. Hey, just trying to be good here.
Present?
New business.
Yes.
Two things. I sent out an email the other day. KSC Hall, as a potential buyer, they run a childcare facility / preschool. They deal with young children, from what I gathered.
And speech therapy.
And speech therapy, yeah, they have. My question is, in that zone, it's allowed for public or private schools. Is it a childcare facility that is there for,
For handicapped kids,
do
I
you
think that
think?
qualify for a school, wouldn't you?
Well, I think the services that they're providing, like the counseling.
It's educational and
Right,
counsel.
right, so, I mean, that happens in a traditional school environment anyway, so. I don't really see an issue with that.
I don't either. I mean, certainly a good use of that site.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, there's already been, I mean, based on what it was previously, I mean, I don't think that you're gonna have, you know, a higher inflow or outflow
No,
of people.
they basically,
are we still gonna use that to vote? Does that still be a voting place?
it wouldn't be at that.
No, it would be someplace else.
But they typically, it's a highly teacher-to-student ratio. They have 20 children at a given time there. I understand that they rotate maybe 2 shifts or 3 shifts during an 8-hour day. So it's very specialized.
So there will be a site plan review then?
If you'd like to see one,
Well, I mean, it's an already, they're not gonna change the structure.
and the parking stays the same.
Parking stays the same, the use is a little different.
We recently split off the ball field from that site. We got that taken care of.
Will they require fencing?
If there's outdoor play, then they would have, yeah, and that could be in the parking lot.
Yeah, okay.
Did they have to apply for a permit to put in the area or out?
No.
I'm sure it's fine.
So how does that work with the ball field next to it? Because the parking lot, I'm assuming will stay with the KC
It does.
facility.
Yeah, we went like a foot off the parking lot
Okay.
and divided.
There'll be a
it
lot
there.
of on-street parking for ball games now.
No, we can use the parking. The new owner would probably.
Yeah, because the hours of the games probably won't conflict with.
Okay. No, I was just curious how that would work.
And then my next item is Sewell Building. That's come up, well, there's someone interested at this point in time. And they're looking to do apartments.
What school building?
That makes sense.
Sewell.
Sewell.
Oh, the Sewell building. Oh, I'm sorry, I heard school.
I'm sorry.
My hearing aids adjusted here.
One of the questions that arose was conversion of the first floor from office to school. Reading the ordinance, if it's located along North Main, South Main, or Water Street, they would have to come in for a contract zone. That is located on Center Street. The only thing that's on Main Street is our park, the city's parking lot.
Right.
Right.
If they come in for a site plan,
I
What's
think it
the,
would be very
what's the,
similar to the
I feel
cross.
daggers.
what's the zone?
C1.
Right.
But it allows for conversion of structures to residential use and structures existing as of March 1980, providing that the ground level, story, and basement, if any, shall not be converted to residential use if located along North Main Street, South Main Street, or Water Street.
So on Center Street, then they're covered. They don't
It-
have
it-
to,
It's always had a Center Street address. That is
Right.
really their only property frontage,
right,
Right.
because we own
all the way around, yeah.
around the back.
So then, the,
Does he have just
you
put
said
the
there needs
church
to be a
on some?
contract zone?
There.
What's that?
You said there needed to be a contract zone?
No, if it was on Main Street or
It
Water
would.
Street, it would have to,
Okay.
as Mr. Dubé
So
said.
their entrance, obviously you'll go over that with them, but the entrance to the apartments would be through the entrance to Sewell now.
Yes.
They have adequate parking for that?
That was my thought. like-
Well, I mean, we own the parking lot, but we lease whatever to Sewell,
Right.
so and that would be something they'd have to prove to us that, does the city want to lease that much parking?
How many units?
I don't know yet.
That'd be quite a few.
It could be.
Yeah.
Huh. So is Sewell
Four stories.
indicated where they're going? No.
Well, it's not really that utilized. I mean, there's a lot of empty
Yeah.
space there.
Yeah, Sewell, it doesn't have as many people as they used to.
Right.
But if that's something that you'd entertain, I'll just let them know that.
Well,
Absolutely.
Because I was pushing for first floor business, but then it got brought to my attention, it doesn't sit on the right streets to do that,
Right.
so that's why I'm.
even though it's a C1.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, I will let them know.
Okay,
And that is it.
okay. Well, the other part of new business, Travis Folsom, right?
Yep.
Is our new addition, or will be.
Well, theoretically.
Yeah, but all you gotta do is be breathing to be on the board, so, well, actually, the city council might have another question or two, but let me ask you, do you have any other questions of us, having watched us?
No, not really. I think I have a pretty good concept of how it works for the most part.
Okay, so I don't, where do you live in Old Town?
I live on Pushaw Lake by the boat landing.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you're, do you work in Old Town, or?
Yep, I work with my family there over at the concrete plant aggregates on Gilbert
Okay,
Falls Ave.
that Folsom, okay, make sure I understood. All right, well, great, well, certainly glad to have you on the board, and if you had any questions or anything, certainly we'd, there are, I think Dave will get you the, once you get through the approval process, the bylaws, you want to take a little time to go over that, and then a copy of the zoning ordinance. And you probably should take a little bit of time to, Dave is really good at making sure we're pointed in the right direction.
Yep.
But we like to think of ourselves as looking for a way that a landowner can do what they want with their property, while at the same time protecting their neighbors and promoting business and all of that, but protecting the, you know, the resources through the zoning that we have. So hopefully that fits in with your philosophy, and we try to have a good time at the same time. So welcome.
Thank you.
I quizzed him hard.
Good, good. Well, I think that's great. I think that's great.
No, I'm excited.
Happy to have you out there. So, so when would he get through the appointment process?
At next month's meeting.
Okay. Well, good. Well, we'll look
And I believe
forward,
that's the first Monday.
we'll look forward to seeing you, and if you were officially on the board, we might try to recruit you to be the chairman, but since you're not, that'll have to wait till next year.
Yeah.
Ted loves to be chairman, don't let him fool you.
Well, I'll do it, but I certainly don't want to, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time.
He's really good at it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Likes to talk a lot, so.
There you go. Yeah, that must be it. That's it. Well, anyway, welcome, Travis.
Thank you.
And, without any further new business or old business, I call for a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Get out of here.
By acclamation, we are adjourned, and now the appropriate sign off. Here we go.